Hi, my name is Matej. Welcome to X-Series News Broadcast. Here's the latest high-impact market news for the week ending June 14th. To recap some of the events last week, Bank of Japan announced meeting to stick to the money market operations, which aims at increasing the monetary base at an annual pace of about 60 to 70 trillion yen. Policymakers also raised the economic assessment, noting that Japan's economy has picked up. Improvements have been seen in areas including exports, consumer spending, public investment and housing investment. Markets are getting cautious ahead of FOMC rate decision this week. There have been much concerns that Fed would taper the stimulus program before the economy could gather enough sustainable momentum. It's expected that Bernanke would make use of the statement and the press conference to lessen the fears of the impact of Fed's unwinding of the asset purchase program, as well as the fear of rate hike. And the development in the US stocks yields and dollar would very much depend on the event. In the coming week, markets will be focusing on Wednesday's Federal Reserve policy meeting as investors look to Fed Chairman Ben Bernanke for any indication on when the US Central Bank may start to unwind its easing policies. Elsewhere, the Bank of England is to release the minutes of their latest policy meeting, and the Eurogroup finance ministers will meet on Thursday. A speech by Bank of Japan Governor Haruhiko Kuroda on Friday will also be closely watched. The euro slipped lower against the dollar on Friday, paring back the week's gains following the release of weaker than expected US economic data. The dollar weakened against the other major currencies last week amid growing expectations that the Federal Reserve will begin to taper its 85 billion a month bond purchasing program later this year. In the Eurozone, official data showed that consumer inflation in the bloc remained unchanged at 1.4% from a year earlier in May. The dollar ended the week sharply lower against the yen on Friday as weaker than expected US data and uncertainty over the future of central bank stimulus bolstered safe haven demand for the yen. The yen rose to multi-month highs against the dollar and the euro earlier this week, following steep falls in Japanese equities after the Bank of Japan disappointed market expectations for measures to ease market volatility. Finishing up our broadcast is the multi-trader section. Today's multi-trader strategy is Mahmad Investors FX1, which is one of the average risk strategies. It made a 0.04% profit last week. During the last 3 months, the strategy achieved these gains. Despite losing 12.62% in April, it was able to regain power in the next month and achieved a profit of 19.07%. That's all for today. Tune in next week for more in-depth currency news that matters to you. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook and Twitter. Goodbye!